morning.
Good morning.
If you'd like to stand, we'll sing our call to worship.
I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is infused with joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, with love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Blake Ringsmith, and I am very pleased to be your worship assistant today. And I'd like to welcome everyone here and those watching on our YouTube channel, which I understand is well attended. I have a few announcements I'd like to share with you, please. We have some meditation opportunities coming up. Next week, Julie Chai will be doing another outdoor sound bath meditation in the amphitheater prior to the Sunday service, so get here before 10 to do that.
Maybe bring a chair, Blake. It's very uncomfortable.
Okay, maybe bring a chair. Those rocks can be a little hard depending on the cushion you bring to with yourself, so to speak. All right, and then 2 more are scheduled for September. Dates will be available soon. Thank you, Julie, for facilitating. Second and fourth. Second and fourth. Oh, second and fourth Sundays, because that's not 7 days. But anyway, yeah, and thank you, Julie. Those are just absolutely fabulous. And then Charlie Weaver, who is a certified meditation facilitator, will be doing meditation sessions here at Unity on Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. These will be ongoing every week and are open to the public, so please bring a friend if that sounds interesting. A love offering is appreciated with donations being split between Charlie and the church. And of course, Ken Dinkins' concert, round 2, is coming up August 27th. That's right, August 27th. That's a Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Woo! This is his second annual, and last year's was a great event. And this year's will be no different. Everyone is welcome, so bring your family and friends. We have cushions in the amphitheater, or you can bring your own chairs. Feel free to bring a beverage or a snack, and bottled water will be provided. The concert is free, but love offerings are gratefully accepted. All donations will go to Unity of Traverse City's general fund. We also have an estate planning workshop coming up, a presentation and discussion on basic estate planning. Service and financial services will be hosted by Unity TC member Bill Dawson. Bill, are you here? He's not here. but you'll recognize him when you see him. On Monday, August 31st from 6:30 to 8 p.m. So again, that's Monday, August 31st from 6:30 to 8 p.m. here at the church. If you are just getting documents started or simply double-checking some of the latest strategies, attention to this topic will bring peace of mind to you and your loved ones, a chance to receive some very good and useful information, and love offerings will go to the Unity Traverse City Building Fund. All right. And then we have a yoga back clinic coming up being...
Building improvement is what it is. The improvement, like on the building, that's not, no new building. No new structure.
Well, you never know. I mean, you don't know, right? Who knows? This or something better. I don't do heckling well from the crowd. We have a yoga back clinic coming up on September 20th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. with our very own Libby Robold. She's board certified yoga therapist, and as you probably all know, she's been doing this forever and has an extremely successful practice over at Building 50 with her and Michael. It's informative and participatory clinic, explores common causes of back pain, observes your personal movement patterns, and teaches you how to interrupt the pain cycle, bringing relief to your aching back. There's a sign-up sheet in the hallway, and attendance is capped to the first 15 to sign up. So please RSVP by September 16th. The cost is $75 with proceeds going to Unity of Traverse City. And then we have a fall book study coming up. This year's fall book study will be the book Falling Upwards by Richard Rohr. The book study will begin the week of September 13th and continue for 7 weeks. We're currently looking for volunteers to facilitate these, and there'll be a meeting September 6th to brief the facilitators and answer any questions they may have. The facilitator will choose the time, day, and location of the meeting. Congregants can sign up for whichever discussion group they would like to join. Participants are responsible for getting the books, and there is a sign-up sheet in the hallway for those who are interested in being a host as well, right there in the hallway. Yes. Get the revised edition of the book. Yes. Yes, absolutely. All right, we're going to turn this into law school. It's going to be a Socratic. Okay.
If I'm supposed to be a host, I'll be hosting it on Zoom.
Okay, there may be a Zoom option, so, but that'll be on the sign-up sheet.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. All right. All right. Well, only in unity. Only in unity. I love it. I love it. All right. Let's say our statement of unity. The affirmation should be there up together, everybody. I am willing to be a presence of divine love in all my relationships.
I behold the Christ in you. Here the life of God I see. I can see a great peace too. I can see you whole and free. I behold the Christ in you. I can see this as you walk. I can see this in all you do. I can see this as you talk. I behold God's love expressed. I can see you filled with power. I can see you ever blessed. See Christ in you hour by hour. I behold the Christ in you. I can see that perfect one. Let my
And as we move into this next part of the service, we'll do so with prayer and then followed by meditation. Father, Mother God, we are here today with the intention of opening our hearts and opening our minds to the message, to the music, to the joy and the energy that circulates within this congregation, the laughter and the love. Let this message create new pathways for us to express our divinity. We are so very, very grateful to have this church home, to have the speakers that we do, the fellowship and the love. And so it is. Amen. Let us move into meditation, so I invite you to clear your laps, close your eyes if it's comfortable for you. Breathing deeply and slowly, and with each breath outward, release any tension in your body. And scan your body. Is there a spot that's a little tight? Loosen those shoulders. Roll them back if you need to. Stretch your neck. Loosen your lower back. Breathing deeply, becoming more and more connected with that divine presence. Feeling your feet on the floor, connecting with the earth, the same earth that the person in front of you or behind you or beside you is touching with their feet. Becoming more aware of the connection to all those here. Becoming aware and affirming the connection to all of those in our community, in our world, the animals, the plants, the sky. Breathing this warm, humid air, filling your lungs. I invite you now to clear your mind from any of the stories that you tell yourself that don't serve your higher purpose. Release them. Let them go. They no longer serve you. Let them go and bless them on their way, whether it's, I'm not good enough, I'm sick. Let those all go. Feel that space opening up in your heart and affirm a new message. I forgive. I am worthy. I am the Christ presence here on the earth. I am joyful. I am grateful. Whichever of these messages or all of them speak your absolute truth, embrace them now and affirm them in the silence, knowing they are your divine truth. And I invite you now to say whatever affirmation was placed upon your heart. Just say it quietly to yourself. I am joyful. And if it's comfortable, say it out loud. I am grateful. And we take this message to ourselves into the week. And for this knowledge and this knowing and intention, we are so grateful. And together we say, Amen.
Thank you, Carol. Oh, thank you.
We should at least be able to see her.
Yeah. I'll just stand tall. Yeah, just all of me. Oh, good morning, everybody. I do behold the Christ in each and every one of you. That makes me tear right away. We started the song, Carol chose it, she knows. It's one of my very favorites, and I think one of the very first things I ever learned in unity. I behold the Christ in you. Here, the life of God I see. I can see a great peace to it and see you whole and free. And then the rest of it, it was just, it's always there. So beholding the Christ, seeing the Christ in every face is one of our most fundamental teachings. It's one of the basic things that we learn in here, but I have to start by saying, okay, because there are those of us who might think, so what is the Christ? I mean, we always need the reminder to know that we're on the same page. So Christ, in the definition that Charles Fillmore gives us in Revealing Word, and there are several pages about the Christ in the Revealing Word, but this is the beginning of it. Christ is the incarnating principle of the God-human. The perfect word or idea of God which unfolds into the true human and is blessed with eternal life by measuring up to the divine standard, thus fulfilling the law of righteousness, right useness. Okay? Think of it, righteousness, right useness, using wisely, using right. Thou art my beloved one, I always say, in whom I am well pleased. Okay, that means you, that means me, that means each one of us. You are the beloved son or one of God. And in us, God is well pleased. And on the one, and as you go into the, it was like the lobby of the administration building. And I think it probably still is. There's been a lot of changes at the village since I was last there. But in there, Charles Fillmore's favorite affirmations or thoughts are up there, truth thoughts, and one of them is just Christ in you, your hope of glory. Christ in you, your hope of glory. So that is, first of all, we get that. The Christ is who we are. And then if we live our lives from a place of knowing the Christ, the I am, the allness of God is who I am right where I am, then there's a Christ vision that comes out. So how do I see this planet? How do I see this wonderful world, even during, I'd say, during troubling times? Can't ignore that. We are human beings, spiritual beings having a human experience. So our feet are on the ground, even though our minds and our hearts and our wherewithal may be thinking above this. No, we are in the flow of life here. So the Christ vision says the spiritual practice of beholding the divine in all people, including those we find most difficult. My neighbor Ed, I would put in there. Unity's most socially engaged teaching and that which is most needed today. The practice of deliberately beholding the divine nature in every person, regardless of their behavior, background, or belief. That's a pretty big requirement, right? I mean, says, oh God, well, we're not in second grade, or we're not even in high school with this. This is way beyond that. This means allness of who we are in our lives. And in every single circumstance. So it isn't just the people, and it isn't just interactions. It's the circumstances in which we find ourselves. And then I have, this is not naive, okay? It is revolutionary. It is ours to do in this polarized world. And it may be the most radical spiritual practice available. Okay, so to me, I think that is a big it's a big task. It's a big requirement to be living our spiritual life, to be the Christ in every single situation, at every moment. And sure, maybe we aren't going to pull it off. I mean, I might go home and find that Ken did not finish the dishes from last night. And I'll walk in, and he will have done this. But, this is a pretend he hasn't. And we had brats, and we had corn on the cob, and I had my nephew and his partner there for the last part of this week. And this was their last night with us. And then David and Dee Dee and Scott, former husband, of course. I do have that little one right there. And we were all there around the table, so we had lots of stuff that went with the brats. And, it was big. And then everybody walks off and goes home. The dishwasher does its part, but there's the remainder. And that's where I left Ken this morning, with the remainder. And it will be done when I get home. But I know it will. But there are other circumstances. Brett and I ran into one yesterday that was very interesting, that was a perfect example here of being the Christ in that situation, of not going into for the guy ahead of us in the car. We get down on Fall Park Road, right to where Michigan 75 comes into Boyne City. And there's the high school, the football field in front of us. And here's a car sitting right there, right in where there's only 2 lanes, because we don't do more than that up there. 2 lanes. And he's sitting right there. And there's cars coming up at 45 miles an hour, and these cars at 35 miles an hour, and he's sitting there. And then I realized his lights are flashing. Oh, and Brett's going, well, what in the, with this guy, what is he sitting there for? What's he waiting for? And then realizing, I don't think he's got an option to move right now. So what that means is we got to pull out around him. But in doing that, we have 45 miles an hour and 35 miles an hour. So we're going to sit ourselves right out there. So moment to practice, what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. Blessing him, blessing the car, knowing God is in charge. This is the moment. Being the Christ in that moment, and knowing we are protected as we pull out there, which we did, and come around in front of him, and then go on to get our crepes and go to the farmer's market and do what we were about. So, It's just it's a constant opportunity. This school is ongoing. It comes up in our bodies. It comes up in all of our interactions. We have opportunity day after day, moment after moment, to practice being the Christ in expression. So Friday night, we go to stroll the streets. And stroll the streets in Boyne is exciting. There's music on every corner. There's people dancing out there. And I never realized how far people come just to stroll the streets of Boyne, because we don't go very often. But we strolled the streets, and we went to one place behind a real estate office where there's a grass place inside, and a little stage, and Linda Christensen, who owns that real estate company, sells popcorn, and she hires a band to come. And this band was a country western style band, and just before we were ready to go, the lead guy says, we have a song we have to sing because Linda requests it every time, and we'll never get hired again if we don't sing this song for you. And it starts out saying, God, please bless us. You've been with this country, you've been with America a long time. We need your blessing now. We need your love now. We need to know you're with us now. And the song, none of us could remember the exact words, except there was one that said, America, wipe your face. Clean your face. Be anew. Come on, shine, is I guess what it was saying. And we thought that meant so much to hear that song, this country western song up in conservative Boyne City. To hear this song, it was just really well done. And it was perfect, and it was kind of quiet, and then the applause started. And along with that, I have to tell you, I am a walking, talking sandwich board this year. And the way I'm doing this is that the kids, they're 60s, in their 60s, but the kids brought me a T-shirt from the Minocqua Brewing Company in Madison, Wisconsin, about a month ago. And it has these words on it. It starts out, and I've worn this to the farmer's market. I wear it whenever I'm going to a large thing right now. Black Lives Matter, women's rights are human rights, no human is illegal. Each of these are down here in different colors. Science is real, love is love, empathy is everything. And I love that T-shirt. And so I wear it, and I wear it proudly. And I don't even put a jacket over it, even if I think I need it. And then I watch people's responses. And like a lady coming towards me, and passing on the sidewalk, of course, there's chairs and tables and people drinking, and there's dogs and people, and all this. Passing, I see a woman walking along, reading my shirt. And then she gets to me and she goes, thank you. I love your shirt. And at the market, it happened several times. People saying, yes, I agree. We had a wonderful picnic table to eat our crepes. And as we were eating that, 4 women sat down, and just as we took their picture, and as they got up to leave, they said, love the shirt. So, it's finding friends everywhere, and then finding the smile that we could share when we see those friends that are in the same consciousness of lifting, of America, wiping your face and knowing that this is all God. It's just takes a giant, giant, giant leap sometimes. And there are times, and Kathy Long, our regional president, we love her, and she's been here. Well, she happened to be out in Oregon this week, 2 weeks ago, or last week, I guess, as the Spokane fires were happening. And the smoke was blowing over to Seattle and Washington, all the way to the West Coast. And Kathy had Facebook, and along with a few other things, said this: will I set aside my self-interests and remake my life for the sake of the earth and the children who will inherit her? Will I set aside my self-interests? Will I be peace? And then she says, Brother Fire, rest now. Brother Fire, rest now. To me, that just said so much when there was concern. Now, I lived on Maui for 10 years, and the fire in Lahaina that we had 3 years ago, and they're still in recovery, really in recovery. And now Spokane, where we lived for 5 years, and I have friends living on the north side. and Gary Simmons, who, and his wife and Jane live way north in Washington, but they're up there, and right across the line is where Doug and Mel live, my son and daughter-in-law. And you know, they were going to go on an anniversary trip, and they thought, no, there was too much smoke, and it was coming. If the wind changed, they were in the path. So they stayed home. They stayed there. You know, brother fire, rest. But brother fire in our hearts, rest. Let the peace that you are flow in. Let the love that you are express. The Christ, be the Christ in all. So what changes? And I think this is important. I know a minute ago I was into these places and my sadness over those, and then immediately into, but what changes when I behold the Christ? When I know God is there, the Christ, the allness of God in the Christ is there, is present even in the midst of this turmoil. What changes when we behold the Christ? Well, we do. Thomas Merton writes a lot about that. When you can see the Christ, when you can feel the presence, what changes? You do. And these are prayers without expectation, and I think that's important to think about it. Not saying, well, God, I can behold the Christ if you make it this way, my way, right? Then it's all okay. But even if it isn't, it still is God there. And my way is God's way. And God's way then becomes my way, our way, because we let go of expectation. I've been reading a lot of Meg Wheatley lately, too. I remember she was our keynote years ago. And she talks about from hope to hopelessness. And our hopelessness, I think, hopeless, means rolling over and playing dead. No. Hopeless means moving in beyond hope with a specific goal in mind that we design, that we tell God just how this should be, just what my preferences are, our preferences are. Hope is way beyond that, into hopeless, the state of liminality, unlimited, out there. Pure awareness, if you're doing the inner work, pure awareness. Not circumscribed awareness. Pure awareness. That's what we're talking about here. So where do we start? We start where we find ourselves being most critical, most doubtful, most afraid. In the most difficult circumstances with the most difficult people. And I don't have to spell it out. You know where I'm talking about. You got it. We've got it. We've got our personal ones. We've got our united ones. We've got it. We know where we start to do this work. But we can't fail. We can't stop. We can't give it up. It's most important, even when we're hearing something that's seems to be an abomination, when we hear it or see it. Behold the Christ in all. Christ doesn't have a face. Christ doesn't have a body. Christ is pure awareness. Christ is the incarnating principle of the God-human, the perfect word or idea in all of this. It's knowing that, going to that, asking it to be revealed. Sometimes, we can't figure it out ourselves. Asking it to be revealed. Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder, wrote letters. She was a wonderful correspondent. I think it must have been wonderful if you could receive a letter from Myrtle. And where I received letters from Myrtle, because she would write in the prayer work that she did, for people, they would write her letters and ask her, probably Mrs. Fillmore, will you pray with me about such and such and such? And she would write personal letters back. Just imagine writing letters most of the day, how your hand might cramp doing that. But she did it. She did it, and she did it in love, and she was with them. And there's one book of hers that was published, and I thought this was hysterical when I checked it, opened it. It's my favorite, How to Let God Help You. And this class I'd really like to teach with all of you if I haven't figured out when or how we'll do that. We do that. But it's one of my favorites that I've taught before. And in that, she writes this. She says, as you find the Christ in yourself, you realize that you are one with Jesus Christ in God mind. So she's writing to it like one person here, but it's in this book. Your soul has taken deep root in the universal mind, and you are growing and unfolding, drawing upon the invisible and making God manifest. I can read that 4 times. That's who we are. The power of the mind is irresistible. Your part then is faith in it to make it its good thing manifest in your life and affairs. By seeing only the Christ in all people, not only strengthen our own spiritual consciousness, but we can help all whom we contact to realize and express their innate divinity. Let us follow Myrtle's lead. Myrtle was a spiritual being having a human experience. She had tuberculosis. We know that as a child. She had been given it's incurable diagnosis. And she lived in that space of knowing God is all. Even in this experience, God is. God is. For what, 3 or 4 years, praying always to this picture of Jesus Christ that she had on a chair in her bedroom. Knowing that and holding to that and experiencing her healing. And I'm sure she didn't tell God how to do it. She just knew she was open to being healed, and then to following through on whatever was hers to do. So she gives us hope, I think. She gives us the hope and the hopelessness that's let us be more. Us individually, us united, let us be more. Let us be in that space, this unlimited space, this hopeless space, if you would, that's greater than we can design, because the plan is so much greater than we have. So it isn't easy. Yeah, no, it's not easy at all to do this. I read a little thing the other day that talked about how Mother Teresa struggled. Well, we don't think of Saint Mother Teresa, who's a saint, being one who struggled with this, to do this. But she did, she saw the face of God in the sickest of the sick, in the worst of the worst. She saw the face of God. That's what we know. But she struggled much of her life to know that God was with her and doing this with her. She struggled and always, why have you abandoned me, God? That would be her way. And the part I was reading, I remember says it wasn't depression that she had. It was and it wasn't quite a dark night of the soul either. It was a constant, I need you now, I need you now, I need you here. Why are you not here? Why do I not feel you here? Why isn't this happening? God, come. And so she was in turmoil while she was doing that work. Much of that work, I think I heard Neil say 80% of the time, she was not at peace doing that work. But that work that she was so honored for. Well, we all go into our times, hopefully not 10%, but maybe a lot less than 80%. We go into that place where we might be struggling to see, am I going to get through this one? And I look at some of you, and I know you've gotten through it. You've come through it. You're coming through it. We're all coming through it. And God is there. We can see the Christ. I behold the Christ right here. So now think of Henry Nouwen. How many have read Henry Nouwen? Okay. He's a Catholic theologian who at one point of his life, I remember taking some meditation things of his years ago, and one point of his life, he was living in a home or a facility for the handicapped. And they asked him, Henry or Henri, however you would say it, are you willing to take care of Adam? Are you willing to wash Adam, to bathe him? Are you willing to dress Adam? Are you willing to feed Adam? Are you willing to give him his breakfast every day? And Adam was a 25-year-old man who couldn't talk, couldn't walk, couldn't move. No outward signs, but he would have been termed a vegetable. But Adam was a great teacher for Henry. He said that in serving him, in washing him and bathing him and feeding him and dressing him and doing all that he did for Adam, and all the time he spent with him, Adam was the one who taught him. Because Adam taught him in that quiet, in that space, with no words, with no action. There was a love that was deeper than any love he could ever experienced. There was a knowing that was deeper than any knowing he had ever had of his own. Adam gave him hope. A hope that formed a very strong bond among people who are to go where life is fragile and life is vulnerable and life is hidden, to go far beyond appearances, to where he found the divinity, to find the divinity in everyone. He saw the divinity in Adam, and Adam saw it in him, and it was exclusive of any of our other ways of interacting. So once again, then, we are asked to behold the Christ where it is most invisible, yet most needed now. And I'll be closing by sharing just a bit of our more contemporary Eric Butterworth in Discover the Power Within You, in the chapter that says, "When shall the kingdom of heaven come?" He says, no matter what condition the world is in, you can find and express peace within yourself, for the kingdom of God is within you. And it is not enough to isolate yourself. It's important. It's not enough to isolate yourself in peace away from the world. You must become a peacemaker and influence for peace among humanity, right here, right now. We are the ones. The Apostle Peter wrote these words. He said, "So we had the prophetic messages confirmed in our very presence, and we urge you to pay attention to them as you would to a light that shines in the dark until the dawn comes and the day's star rises in your hearts." Pay attention as you would to a little light that shines in the dark. What is the song? This little light of mine. Well, this little light of the universe is shining for us. And so through the darkness, through the light, through every moment, through the difficult, through the circumstances, through the beautiful, let us behold the Christ and know it is good, because God is good, and so are we. God bless you, each one. Thank you. God is in my knee.
Thank you, Judy. Before we consider our time of offering, I just got to say, somebody better call Ken and tell him to get the dishes done. All right. This is our time of offering, a time to share our financial gifts with the ministry. As children of a loving God, we live in the light of abundance, deeply grateful for all that has been given and all that is yet to come. We embrace the good that God provides with joy and thanksgiving. And let us say our prosperity blessing together, which is on the screen together. God is the constant, unconditional, and unfailing source of good in my life.
You might win a battle, you could win a race, you could outrun your rivals, come in first place, you could lose your center in the push and the shove, or simply surrender and tune into love. It's just who we are. Both the light and the shadow are at home in the heart. But beyond the struggle, there's music to play and songs to be singing at the end of the day. Love wins, love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins, love wins, love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. Love knows no boundaries. It's just the light in our eyes, familiar to all, universally prized. There's a world of compassion, and we're good to the end. We could just quit fighting and let love win. 'Cause love wins, love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins, love wins, love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. When we're up against too much to ask, when we've lost all resistance at last, when we realize love's got our back, love wins. For everyone, great and small, we are lifted as we fall. Kindness conquers all. Love wins, love wins, love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins, love wins, love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. New life begins. Love wins.
Right. Well, we'll close our service now with a prayer. Father, Mother God, thank you for this experience. Thank you for the opportunity to focus for this time, this sacred time, to open our hearts, to remember, to see the face of the Christ within everyone. We take these words, this message, these feelings, and this wonderful loving energy communicated through Judy, through the musicians, through our laughter. We take it into our hearts. Let it nourish us as we go forward this week, knowing that this message is always there for us. And while we may forget it, we can come right back to it. And for that opportunity, we are so grateful. And together we say, Amen. Well, I would like to thank you all for being here. Thank the folks that are watching on our YouTube channel. We have refreshment back at the fellowship hall, and we have our prayer chaplains available here in the front and in the hallway for personal confidential prayer. At this time, I'd like to gather in our circle. We can do it, maybe. All right. Excellent. We are connected, literally and figuratively. Circles are sacred. As we hold the hand to the left of us and to the right of us, knowing that each one of them and each one of us holds the Christ presence within us. We call that forward as the energy passes through this circle. So grateful, so grateful. We take this opportunity to call to mind a circumstance, a person, a family, needing blessing, prayer, and the divinity directed by our prayers towards them or that thing. And I invite you now to speak it into the circle if you're comfortable, or hold it in your hearts. And we know that all is in divine order, and it may be out of our understanding, but the highest good is being called to it through our prayers, through the affirmation of this circle and the synergy of that love that we have created and sent into the universe. And we feel it now, and we bless it with our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Joyous vow to take each moment and live each moment.